Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Catherine Pooler is celebrating their 10-year anniversary with a fun new release. They sent me a few products from the new release to play with, and I have 3 different card designs to share with you. I have the new Pretty Prints 6x6 pattern paper, and also their Flutters and Thanks stamp set and coordinating dies. There's a die that goes around each of the butterfly images and also the large thank you and thanks sentiment. One of my favorite things about Catherine Pooler's pattern paper, at the very bottom on the cover sheet, it mentions which of her ink colors match with the pattern paper. Makes it so easy if you're stamping solid images or sentiments. I'll confess, I have all of her ink colors, and I'll be using 5 of them that are mentioned. The only one I'm not using is Seafoam. So let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. I will be using some card sketches for inspiration. The first sketch is from Cards TV. This is number 44. And if you're interested in any of the sketches, including measurements, I share all of that information on my coordinating blog post. The link is in the description box below, or you can simply head over to KristieMarcotte.com. For the background pattern paper, selected this lovely floral design. I added the wide strip of the pink and white stripe paper, and for a little bit of separation and shine, I'm putting a Love from Lizi peel off along the edge of the pink and white stripe paper. This is the pink holographic color in pinstripe style. I wrap the ends around the back, and I'll layer this floral panel on some light green cardstock, and this is cardstock from my stash. Now I'll put ATG tape on the back and add this panel on some pink cardstock. This is also cardstock from my stash. The color is very close to the sparkling berry ink color. This pink cardstock piece is A2 size. I'll add my card front onto a card base. For the smaller rectangle panel, I'm using the light green and white polka dot pattern paper. I'll layer it on the same light green cardstock. And before adhering it down, I'm putting a scrap piece of pattern paper at the top and bottom, just in the area where it goes off of the pink and white pattern paper. Now I'll put more adhesive on the back and adhere this piece on the center of the card. I've already gone ahead and stamped and cut out the butterflies and sentiment. For the larger butterfly, I used the Honeycomb ink, and the smaller solid butterfly, I used the sparkling berry ink color. To help the yellow butterfly stand out from the polka dot background, I'll first adhere it on a white circle die cut, and I did use some white shimmer cardstock, so it has this lovely shimmery finish. I'll adhere the circle and then the butterfly. Now I'll add the sentiment thanks, putting it on the right side of the butterfly. Then for a final finishing touch, I'll add the pink solid butterfly above the yellow one on the right side. I decided for this card not to add any foam or embellishments. Never hurts to have a few cards on hand that don't need any additional postage. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. Now moving on to card design number 2, I have a piece of white cardstock and Catherine Pooler's On the Lake ink color. And with a blending brush, I'm adding ink in the very center. I wasn't happy with the first attempt. It was a little too dark for what I want on my card. So I simply flipped over the piece of cardstock, and then I'll just use the ink that's left over on the brush, and I'm much happier with this lighter color. Now I'll cut out an oval using a stitched oval die from Love from Lizi, and I'll be adding a little bit of shimmer using Simon Hurley's Solar Spray. This is the deep end color. You want to make sure to shake up the solution, get it all mixed, then I'll spritz the oval. It's always hard to see on video, but it does add a lovely shimmery finish. I'll set that aside, let it dry completely, and start assembling the card. I am using a card sketch. This is from Sketch Saturday. It's number 779. For the background of my card, selected the pink pattern paper with foliage and flowers. And across the center of the card, I'm adding a strip of the colorful plaid pattern paper. For a little bit of separation and shine, I'll put a Love from Lizi peel off along the edge of the plaid paper. This is the same pink holographic color in pinstripe style. Since I'm covering up the very center, I was able to use some of the small leftover pieces. I'll wrap the ends around the back, layer this piece on some pink cardstock. Then I'll put more adhesive on the back, add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. For the banner on the left side of the card, on the card sketch they have it underneath the strip that goes across the card. I'm switching it up and adding that banner on top of the plaid paper. I selected the yellow paper with white flowers. I'll cut a fishtail at the bottom, and I will layer it on some orange cardstock. This is more cardstock from my stash. Before adhering it down, I'll put a scrap piece of pattern paper at the top and bottom area, just where it goes off of that plaid pattern paper. And that scrap pattern paper piece will help the banner stay at the same level. Then I'll add adhesive on the back, adhere it on the left side of the card. So now that my oval is all dry, I will be layering it on a pink oval die cut. I use the next size up. I'll put glue on the back, adhere the two ovals together. I love the pretty shimmery finish from the solar spray. Once I've added the smaller blue oval, I'll place a large acrylic block on top for some added weight, and that will help the two lay nice and flat. I will be stamping a little bit of decor on the oval, and you could stamp before adding the shimmer spray, but either way it still works just fine. I am using my mini MISTI, want to make sure to get a good impression. And the little decor piece I'm using could also be used inside the butterfly wings. But I think it also looks fun as a little decoration. I'm adding one on the right side and one on the left side of the oval, and I'm using On the Lake ink color. Even though this is the same ink color I use for the background of the oval, it looks completely different since I'm stamping it versus using a blending brush and adding ink on cardstock. So now I'll add this same image on the right side. I have the ends of the 3 points all facing in, and they'll be pointing to a butterfly image. And I'm using the grid on the MISTI to get it lined up with the left side. Before adhering the oval down, I will add a scrap cardstock piece underneath, just in the area where it goes off of the yellow floral banner. And I used a smaller oval die to cut out that scrap piece, then just trimmed off the left side. Now I'll put glue on the back, adhere the oval in place. And before that glue dries completely, I'll get it adjusted so those two decoration stamped images are nice and straight. For an image, I'm adding one of the larger butterflies. I use the sparkling berry ink color, cut it out using the coordinating die. And for this card, I will pop it up with foam dimension. I'm using the small foam squares from scrapbook.com in the 1mm thickness. For a sentiment, I've already stamped out thanks. Use the On the Lake ink color on white cardstock. With a pair of scissors, I'll cut a fishtail on the right and left side. This is a fairly small sentiment. I really wanted that butterfly to be the feature on the card. I wasn't happy with one of the fishtails, so I'll go back in and trim it a little bit more. Now put glue on the back and add the sentiment underneath the butterfly and on the oval. So there is my finished card, and I did make two using this design. This pattern paper is so pretty. I love the colors and designs, and it works perfectly with the new butterfly images. Moving on to card design number 3. The card sketch is from Cards TV. This is number 64. For the background of my card, I'm using the yellow paper with white flowers. And for the two narrow strips at the bottom, using some of the leftover pattern paper I used for the previous two cards. the pink and white striped, and also the pink background with floral and foliage pieces. I'll add the pink and white stripe at the bottom and then the pink floral piece above it, about 1/8 of an inch apart, maybe a little less. For a little bit of separation and shine, I'll add some Love from Lizi peel-offs. This is the pinstripe style in clear with gold overlay. So it has this beautiful gold shine. Above and below the two strips, I'm using the narrowest width, and between, I'm using the widest width since it is clear in the center and then it has that gold overlay on the edges. So it'll look like I've added two pieces in the center between the two narrow strips. I'll wrap the ends around the back, layer this piece on some orange cardstock from my stash. Then I'll add this piece on some white shimmer cardstock, and that piece is A2 size. For the orange cardstock layer, I added an additional 1/8 of an inch. So it's 3 7/8 of an inch by 5 1/8 of an inch. And I wanted that wider white pearlescent border. I'll put adhesive on the back and add my card front onto a card base. For the 5 small circles at the top of the card, I'll be adding 5 small butterfly images. I used 3 of the ink colors, Sparkling Berry for the 1, Apricot for 2, and Mandarin Spice for 2. I'm putting the lightest color, the apricot butterflies, on the very right and left side. And I'm tilting them inward just slightly. Want to make sure to get them at about the same placement. Next, I'll add the 2 darker orange. This is the Mandarin Spice color. And I'm tilting those butterflies the opposite direction as the apricot butterflies. On the card sketch, it has that center circle behind the 2 middle circles. I'm changing that up and putting the center circle or the pink butterfly in front. After adding the 4 orange butterflies, I'll add the pink butterfly. This is the Sparkling Berry ink color. And I am popping it up with foam dimension using more of the small foam squares from scrapbook.com in the 1mm thickness. And I use the grid lines on my craft mat to get that butterfly nice and centered on the card. For a sentiment, I'll be adding thank you, and I've already stamped and cut this out. I use the Mandarin Spice ink color. I'll add it on a white circle die cut. And I layered the white circle on an orange circle die cut. This is the same cardstock color I use for that background layer. I'll adhere the sentiment thank you, place a large acrylic block on top, let that sit for a few minutes so it lays nice and flat. And for a final finishing touch, I'm adding some Love from Lizi peel-offs around the sentiment. This is the mini heart style in gold. So there is my finished card. I love how this one turned out. I think the 5 butterflies at the top look so fun. Now here's another look at the 6 cards I made using new products from Catherine Pooler. They're celebrating their 10-year anniversary with a fun new release. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, or you want to check out the rest of the release, I do have links in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.